to keep the answers short, because we are taking back-to-back updates and I'll keep coming back to you in each of those. For now, viewers, India has summoned Jason Meeks, the chargé d'affaires of the United States, to lodge a formal protest over the attack on the commercial vessel Sete Bellow off the coast of Oman. The ship had 24 Indian crew members on board, of whom 21 have been rescued and 2 were declared dead, of course, while 1 still remains missing. The Ministry of External Affairs reiterated its call for de-escalation and protection of commercial shipping in international waters, as senior MEA official Nagaraj Naidu held the meeting in New Delhi. Lieutenant General, in your opinion, how aggressive should India's stance be, and how strongly should the message go across? What can India really do here?
Thank you, Kriti. I think India has called for the senior the person from the embassy, other than the ambassador, the senior most diplomat that has been called for, has been told very clearly that this kind of a thing wouldn't be acceptable, though it is a Palau flag, but Indian sailors, and as you rightly said, 2 of them have been dead, 1 of them is missing, and therefore this kind of a thing would not be acceptable. But it's, in a fog of war, it's extremely difficult. And since it's not an Indian flagship, it's the Indian sailors there, I think the Americans, now to ensure such things don't occur, must warn. And therefore, once the warning is given, precautionary steps can be taken. And of course, then you can adhere to whatever instructions have been passed, rather than hitting the tankers, hitting the ships, in which most of the Indian sailors are the world over, they are flying ships. And therefore, it is very important that US mustn't indulge in this kind of a thing, irrespective of whatever the situation may be, because it leads to escalation for no rhyme or reason. And that is one of the reasons that the Americans then get a bad name for the kind of activities that they're doing in the Strait of Hormuz. Iranians are saying that the Strait of Hormuz is not blocked. The Americans are saying, well, we ensure that the Strait of Hormuz will be kept open. So there's a whole lot of things going on. But yes, there's a fog of war. India has taken a very serious view of what the Americans have done.
Right. In fact, viewers, the International Maritime Organization also strongly condemned the attack on the oil tanker near the Hormuz Strait. In a statement, the IMO said that according to reports, the Palau flag tanker MT Sete Bellow caught fire after being struck by a projectile near the coast of Oman. The IMO Secretary General Arsenio Dominguez expressed great concern over the incident and said that any action that endangers the lives of seafarers and the safety of international navigation is simply unacceptable. These visuals on your screens, in fact, are from that oil tanker after it was struck near the Gulf of Oman. You can see the destruction that's of course caused by the US strike here. Visuals, of course, speaking for themselves. Mr. Karori Singh, I want to come to you now. What do you make of this particular attack? What could US have done really to exercise more caution, or do you think it was planned? Did it plan to hit the oil tanker with personnel of different nationalities on board?
You see, Kriti, it's very difficult to ascertain whether it's a well-planned strike on the tanker or it was by some mistake or some error, because when war situation is there, and sometimes unknowingly, some kind of a strike may take place, or maybe we can call not exactly this the collateral damage, but some misunderstanding might have been there. So what the exact situation is there, it's very difficult to ascertain at this point of time. But all the more, India has a great concern and the high stakes in the Iran-US war and even West Asia as a whole. So India is more concerned, but it does not mean India wants to get involved in this crisis situation in any way. Even India is not going to offer any offer of good offices even. So India's concern is, India is saying resolve the crisis through diplomacy and dialogue. This is the well-pronounced policy in global crisis situations as regards the India's policy is concerned. So still India, when Indians are hit, whether Indian individual or Indian tanker, then India's concern grow greater. So how to deal with the situation? Just protest is not sufficient, but to ensure future strikes like this, that is the more important. I think India will be taking appropriate steps to ensure that in future such a situation doesn't take place. But right at the moment, the Hormuz has been fully closed by the IRGC. IRGC has officially said the Hormuz is fully closed. No ship will be allowed to pass. Whichever the country tanker or the ship might have been. So it's a fully closed. I don't know how situation will emerge, because there is a double blockade. On the one side, Iranian blockade and American blockade, and such a blockade situation, I think still the stakes are very high, not for Indian ships alone, but ships passing through this area over Kriti.
Right. Viewers, now US Central